Witness the dazzling tale of galactic guardians of peace, a beautiful queen of a planet at the brink of war, against an evil, mysterious wizard and his fearsome warrior apprentice. Will a simple slave boy bring balance to all? Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Revisiting due to Rise of Skywalker coming up, and there are a myriad of colourful characters introduced, the biggest role of which was Jar Jar Binks, underrated in terms of the impact that he had on CGI motion capture, live action interaction, certainly deserving of more praise than what was heaped on him. One of the strong points of the film. There were practical sets involved, but they were limited. Here is one, of course, and I do have one comment to make. Of course, in hindsight, I had the sense that it was being very critical. The extras on set could have been given better direction, hypercritical. It's as if, in a sense, like the film, everyone was feeling special for being on a Star Wars set, but they hadn't pinpointed down yet exactly what they had to do to make it as special as the original trilogy. I was surprised to find out that the Bunraku method of puppetry that was used for C-3PO without his skin here. This was leading up to the pod race, of course, one of my favourite parts of the story. I can't understand people who don't like this. I think the design, the dynamics of that racing is great, and the sound is the best I feel I've seen in a Star Wars film. I think the new trilogy doesn't match up in terms of sound. And the pod race is a winner. Darth Maul, Ray Park in this role added such a strong element to the film, and no one's going to argue with that. Unfortunately, this practical stunt here made it into like a quarter of a second of the film. But we can appreciate, perhaps in the background, the use of practical and blue screen, just to bring some more of that organic feel to the film. But Ray Park, what an asset for this film. Beautiful costumes here, beautiful set design. My critique will be that the camera is plopped down too often, just in the middle of nowhere, and the actors and the characters walk past. There's no dynamism to the camera moves, which is what George Lucas brought us in Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope. That technique of having, the camera move around fighters moving toward the camera and other objects in the background moving accordingly, organic, dynamic. But it's made up for in a CGI by the amount of ships in that, that type of scene. I think the Galactic Senate was great. It alluded to the size of the Galactic Republic here. But mentioning the Galactic Republic, can I just point out that the opening crawl is not for kids. And I struggle with it, but I am a bogan. Not for kids. What a difficult opening crawl. Look, a beautiful practical here, but I felt it wasn't used enough. And again, when you've got these CGI fighters with their space dogfights, there's something inorganic about having the routes or the paths of the fighters set up using algorithms, because it's all based on various axes, so there's something very smooth and inorganic about it. And for that reason I prefer the original trilogy. But again, you can have a vast amount of ships using CGI that you can't with practicals. 35mm film. ARRI 535 and 435 are used along with, I think, Hawks, C-Series and Amorphic Primes. The last film that George used in the Star Wars trilogy, used film 4 in the Star Wars trilogy. For most of us, the daily grind is a struggle, but the rewards are there. But for one man, there has always been a world between our own, where spirits seek out the souls of the gifted, to attain immortality, to deny the inevitable. But one professor of hard knocks might have something to say about it. Doctor, sleep. We see Danny through flashbacks to his youth, recreating some of the scenes from The Shining. We see him in this early stage of his adulthood where he really has lost control, and it's only via a character from the original, from the first film, that he's given some impetus to be responsible in his own life and to take care of perhaps someone who is gifted like him. And of course, we do come across such a colourful, dynamic, colourful character in terms of her family life. I thought it's just a great choice of a character. Now, I don't care if she's Mary Sue or not. I think it's a fantastic character, and it was played, as I always say, with wisdom beyond years. And the connection between Abra, what a great name, and Danny is the core of the film. Rose the Hat, okay, Rebecca Ferguson, awesome in Mission Impossible and just awesome here. She's a perfect counter to Danny, and spot on performance. What more can I say? A totally different character, absolutely vastly different from the limited mass exposure I've seen her in through Mission Impossible. So her and her ragtag team are the perfect counter to Danny and all his buddies. They are, let's say, a motley crew, but they're understated as per Stephen King's style. Their wickedness it's slow boil, but when they do act on their wicked impulses, it's supernatural, and it is draining. There's a pain there, but it's not the pain of shock or violence. It's something peculiar, very Stephen Kingish. As they build their camaraderie, these two, he taking responsibility for someone with a gift, someone younger than him but stronger, without the experience, without the wisdom. We see them both great, but he more so. And I haven't mentioned this yet, but I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I couldn't believe that it hasn't been as successful as it should be. And certainly a couple of people walked out when I was watching it. I couldn't understand that. This is Mike Flanagan. I haven't seen Ouija Origins of Evil, but I look forward to seeing that. There are many set pieces and location supernatural action pieces to this film that just keep it going. Great supporting cast again. So you can do no wrong. This film I thought was just, can I say fabulous? That's what I thought it was. Mike Flanagan again directing that Stephen King, country town or suburban weirdness, bringing it into the home, where it pervades that sort of surreal, supernatural existence. So thanks for that. I do appreciate that. What was it shot on? So it was shot on large format Arri LF, same as Joker. And they use a special lens, Arri, I think it's DNA prime lenses, but they are designed to work on this large format camera. So they're designed to cover a wider frame. You get more in your picture, and it works well that they've set up that dreamy urban reality very well. So thanks for that. Now, can I reiterate? I think the lack of success, I'll just finish here, the lack of success with the prequel trilogy is probably due to just that time that the original trilogy was released. There was some pretty heavy things going on in the 70s and into the 80s, but without wanting to seem corny, there was this desire to look for a new hope, and I think people got that, that sense of something beyond with, I'm going to say, cross-cultural concepts, like samurais with light swords, the wise Yoda, who's like some Indian yogi. Just something fresh. The dogfights in space, bringing elements of the past into the future. I think that was a success of the original trilogy. We're looking for that in the follow-ups, but I think the population is in a different headspace. Looking for something else. Possibly the internet and social media has taken the edge off, or pointed it in a different direction. But more on that later. Thanks very much for listening to my review of Dr. Sleep and my retro review of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I've dabbled in no-budget short and feature films. I've never made a feature film. I couldn't hold a candle to anyone I've criticised in these reviews.